Yo, people, welcome to another episode of Football Heritage with me, Josh, Ore, Sarab, Daniel, and Denzel. Yeah, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. But anyway, this week, the big game of the weekend was Arsenal and United. It was a pretty mediocre game. I don't think we learned anything too tough from it, but just moving on to the panel, what were your thoughts and opinions on the game? Did you learn anything new? So yeah, Denzel, what did you see? Like, did you learn anything new from the game about United's capabilities?
Um, didn't really learn nothing new. The first thing I'll point out though is like we're not touching the league. That's definitely not happening. Um, the front three were atrocious. Rashford, he was ineffective on the right hand side. Missed a golden opportunity. Cavani missed so many opportunities that he should have put away. Martial was just lazy throughout the whole game. He didn't really have an impact on the game. I feel like with Man United, the issue before was the defense, but now it's an issue of the attack. Like lately, in the past couple of games, the attack hasn't really been doing that much, and it's looking a bit worrying. Like the front three not performing is a bit worrying, and it's like all his not tactics, like his substitutions are a bit suspect sometimes. Like I think he waited a significant there was a significant amount of time that he waited before he put Greenwood on. And I feel like he should have put Greenwood on earlier because of the front three. They were ineffective. They weren't doing anything. So I don't know. It's just that front line. Arsenal, I feel like they were better than us in the second half, to be honest. But I feel like the first half we were better than them. I feel like a draw was a fair result. But given the opportunities that we had, we could have easily won that game. So it's disappointing, and it's a wake up call and it's a reality check that I don't think we're quite there with the Cities and the Liverpools. And it pains me to say it, but yeah, I don't think we're there yet.
So from the Arsenal perspectives, like what were your thoughts on the game, and how did you think Arteta did in the game tactically, and what just your general thoughts on the game, Ore?
Um, you know what? The thing is, I'm really impressed with um how much our defending has improved because just not even just in terms of not conceding that many goals, also in terms of like errors leading to goals. Because I saw a very interesting stat where this season we've not had any direct error leading to goal, and compared to the previous seasons, we've had I think in Wenger's last season, we had about like 17 in a single season errors leading to goal about that. So it's quite interesting to see how we can deal with pressure very well, because there were a lot of times where United were applying pressure on us in the box and we handled ourselves well. We broke out a few passes and we found ourselves in the halfway line. I feel like we missed Saka a lot, because going forward, yeah, we're all right, but I just feel we couldn't really break through the way we wanted to. Probably Aubameyang too. I mean, he hasn't really had the best season, but he could still obviously be a threat there. I feel like he would have been a bigger threat than obviously Willian. Although Willian he didn't have a bad game when he came on. He just he was just decent. Had a good opportunity. It was a good block from Bissaka, to be fair. Um, I do think a draw was a fair result in terms of how everything went. Although it was a game I really wanted us to win, but with the players we were missing, it just didn't really seem realistic for us to win that game. But in terms of how Arteta handled everything, getting the point, keeping a clean sheet, yeah, I think he did the best that he possibly could.
What about you, Dan?
No, I agree with Ori. I think I was quite impressed with Arteta. Like considering the players that we had out, like Aubameyang, Tierney, Saka, these are three big players, and considering the squad that we were playing, like Cedric played left back. We had a back four of Cedric, David Luiz, Holding, and Bellerin, and considering like how individually they're not very good players. I think we were defended pretty well, and that's the case over the whole season. As already said, like apart from Man City, Arsenal have the best defense in the league in terms of goals conceded, which I'm very impressed with, considering how suspect we've been defensively over the past couple of years. And I think it was just another example of how solid we were. But that being said, Man United did miss a lot of big chances, and they probably should have won 1 or 2-0 if they had taken their chances. But I mean, before the game, I would have taken a draw considering the players we had out, and especially considering Man United's team. Like, player for player, I think Man United probably should have blitzed us. They probably should have beat us 3 or 4-0. But I mean, I feel like they didn't really go for it. That was the one thing that I kind of took away from the game. I think with starting McFred in midfield and not really like, especially in the second half, I felt like Man United kind of were more scared of losing than trying to win. And especially if you're trying to win the title, considering Arsenal are mid-table right now, with missing their 3 biggest players, that was the game that really, I think Ole should have said, we need to go out and get 3 points here. And ultimately that wasn't good enough for them, in my opinion anyway.
Sarah, as a neutral, what was your general opinions on the game?
Yeah, I didn't think it was a great game. I thought it'd be. I think we expected it to be cagey. I noticed a lot tactically that both teams would allow each team to get back into their shape very, very quickly, and I think that obviously nullified a lot of what Man United wanted to do with Bruno and running him behind. I think both teams are happy with the result, considering how they both played. And yeah, I think Cedric playing on that left back, he's quietly done a good job there. I think over the last few games, it looks like Maitland-Niles is going to leave, so we'll see what happens with Cedric and where he's going to be deputised on both sides. But yeah, obviously, I think most people thought that Man United aren't going to win the league this year, most likely. They're still a couple of years behind the Liverpool and City development. But I think you'll see the pressing. I didn't see a lot of pressing from both teams, which I think if you're sitting in Liverpool, you're pressing after those balls in pairs and you're going for each of those balls. They had the biggest chances to win the game. I think despite what happened on Wednesday with Sheffield United, I think they would have seen this as a missed opportunity. You can lose games, obviously, particularly against lower teams, but against the top 6 sides, you want to make a statement to show that you can beat everybody. Sounds simple, but it's easier said than done.
Mm-hmm. I think if you just look at it in general, the top 6 games have been pretty tight. Some of them haven't been, but majority of them have been tight. So I'm not really going to get onto United for their approach.
They haven't gotten a point from. They haven't won a game against the top 6 side. I think
They've scored 1 goal and it's a penalty.
That's shocking. That's shocking.
I think
they're scared.
I think Tottenham's the only team that beat them, isn't it? In the top
Really?
6. Isn't it Tottenham that's the only team that beat
that's
them
what I'm saying. Like, I think Man United.
One thing I've noticed is that they find it really hard to break down any team with a half decent defense.
Even a mid block.
Yeah, even if it's not like a team that has good defenders, if they're just defending well on the day, then they find it hard to. Even the Sheffield game, I mean, the goal they scored was a set from
set play. Yeah,
Maguire header, and you just felt like the whole of the game they didn't really penetrate Sheffield's attack. I mean, Sheffield's defense, it was just so I mean, against Arsenal too, they always just have the ball, play around, but I feel like any half decent defense usually does a good job on the day against them. But yeah, it will be interesting to see how they build their squad moving forward. Like I already said on the previous episode, they definitely need a new striker, but I guess we'll see how that goes.
One thing, we might have to give Ori the dub for that. For that one with Martial. He might have been ahead of the curve.
Wait, okay.
Give it time.
Let's not completely rub him out. Like, come on now. Let's not be silly.
No. It wasn't his fault.
He's been atrocious this season. Let's not lie. But I'm not gonna completely rub out Martial. Like, he can still do something this season. It's not looking good at the moment, but he can still do something this season.
Yeah. By the end of the season, I think we'll have our opinions set. But moving on to another title challenger, was Liverpool versus West Ham. And West Ham have been doing their thing this season, and we'll get onto them later. But I can't lie, Liverpool did well, especially in the second half. You know, Salah turned up. The second goal, disgusting. Even their third goal. Their third goal was crazy. All their goals were very good, I can't lie. But, you know, they're starting to look in their groove. You know, they beat Tottenham as well. So what are our thoughts on Liverpool now? Are they starting to make a resurgence, or do we still need to be a bit patient with them? Ori?
Their defense, I still think like Van Dijk is a huge, miss for them going forward. I mean, they completed a sign today that they yet to announce. So I guess, they could improve their defense. But, in terms of like before the season started, I guess everybody just knew that City and Liverpool would just, get that top two position eventually. And I do feel like that's what's going to happen. I do think they obviously still have a chance of, winning the league. The Spurs performance was very good. West Ham too, really good. The thing is, once they start that phase they went through, is always just a thing of like mentality. Once you break out of the phase, you just start to build up on that. Similar to what happened with Arsenal, where we went on that losing run, and eventually we beat Chelsea, and then we just started winning games and scoring goals. So it's just a thing of, sometimes football is just a thing of like the mind. You just need to break out that phase, and they've done so, and they played well and they started scoring goals. So yeah, I do think eventually they would move up the table and obviously challenge with City properly.
Yeah, Dan, what's your thoughts on Liverpool right now? Where do you think they're heading towards?
I think everyone knew that Liverpool was still a very good team and they're still dangerous. But obviously they went through a little blip. Like losing at home to Burnley wasn't good. But the quality that they showed in that West Ham game. And West Ham have not been a bad team this year. They've been playing really well. So especially in that second goal, like I think it was like 2 or 3 touches and they'd gone the full length of the pitch and scored. So Liverpool, they obviously they have that centre back coming in. We'll need to see how good he is, but as we all knew, they're a good team and they'll be in and around the title picture come the end of the season.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Denzel? What are you saying about Liverpool?
Just like they're coming back. I feel like people expected them to at least finish second. I don't think they're winning the league. I still think it's City who are going to take the title this year. But they've strengthened on transfer deadline day. They've signed, I think, 2 centre backs. They signed one from Preston and then they've signed another from Schalke. So I see them improving. They played well against Tottenham and West Ham as well. So Liverpool, looks like they're on the rise again and have to respect it. Can't lie.
What about you, Sarah? What are your thoughts on Liverpool? Them smashing up your beloved West Ham?
Yeah, okay. I mean, we'll focus on West Ham in a bit, but solely on Liverpool, I think before the Tottenham game, the last 5 games, they were still creating huge chances, at least 5 or 6 clear-cut chances. I think Salah is still the outright probably the best attacker in the league, whereas we're talking about probably one of the best in history. So you've always got a chance when he's there. I think Thiago's really people are starting to realise the value of Thiago in that team. He is a different midfielder to what they've got already and what they have done for the past few years. I think Dan mentioned this last week, which was very important, about Naby Keita and him being that player before Thiago came. They can get Thiago fit and Keita playing. They'll have a lot more progression through midfield. They won't have to rely on the fullbacks, particularly against deep blocks. And it should help them a lot. They've got players coming back from injury. They've signed Kodak and Davis today, or it will be confirmed. But yeah, I think they have been unlucky in a few games. Trent, as long as he's not defending, he'll offer them something going forward. And yeah, I think Origi, Shaqiri, then when you look at in terms of their backups, they're not obviously as good as, I would argue, 3 teams in the league. City, Tottenham and Chelsea do, I think, have better backups. But Klopp can get them working in that system and it's very cohesive. So, Origi had a massive chance in that game to score in the first half from a Thiago pass. And yeah, I thought at the beginning of the season it would be City and Liverpool at the top. I still think that's going to be the case. I think they can go after every single game. They know that they can sit back and defend if they need to. They can go on press if they need to. They can win a game pretty much how they want. But yeah, I think they're in good state going forward.
But
It'll be
let's
interesting
see,
to
man.
see what happens on the weekend against City and how that affair pans out.
Yeah,
Because we'll have Fabinho back as well.
That'll definitely be interesting. But yeah, moving on to their opponents, and I want us to have a bit of a deep dive into West Ham, because I remember at the start of the season there was kind of like a revolt because they sold Dean Garner to West Brom. Mark Noble came out on Twitter saying how disappointed he is in the club and stuff like that, and it all looked like it was going downhill for West Ham and David Moyes. But lo and behold, 2nd of February, where are you in the league right now? You're
5th.
Imagine.
Yeah.
So Sarah, take us down the expectations going into the season and how it's kind of progressed as the season's gone on, and just your general thoughts on Moyes.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the season, we played Newcastle and Arsenal, and we thought, okay, we lost to both those games, and everyone was already thinking, oh, here we go again. General expectation, just to stay up. I think the owners, they don't give a toss. As long as we stay up, they're making their money. They don't care about ambition. Focusing on Moyes, I think we saw after the first couple of games him starting to develop a system of some sort, playing 5 at the back, with Masuaku really shining. He was probably our best player in the first couple of months, getting us out of trouble in during defensive phases, getting us up the pitch. I think he's developed a system where it gets the best out of players who, they're not very good at everything. I think Cresswell playing well at left centre back allowed him to get those assists for Antonio before he got injured. Got the best out of players such as Fornals, who may not have had the best end quality and produce on the pitch all the time, but he has endeavour. He shows passion and hard work, which we all know David Moyes loves that from his players first and foremost. The expectation it's changed, but I still think people are quite reserved on West Ham because we know we've been in this position a few times over the past few years where we've started well. We've seen players, outperforming in their position, outperforming in terms of what we expected them. Thomas Souček, obviously, everyone's realizing the threat he is, the partnership he's got with Declan Rice. I think the squad depth is a big issue. I just don't see how we can have any sort of ambition with no strikers potentially if Antonio gets injured. We've just loaned out a few of our youngsters again, who play up front. We've not got many wingers. We've only got Fornals, Yarmolenko, Benrahma, and Lanzini, who all playing that free behind Antonio. So it is a bit thin. If Souček or Rice was to get injured, I think it pretty much spells the end of a top 10 finish. Some of his decision making at the beginning of the season was also to be questioned. I think he didn't make subs, maybe because he didn't trust the squad. Also because he didn't want to start playing expensive football like we've been seeing for the past few weeks. The big decision, in my opinion, which could obviously affect the season, is the Haller sale. Looks like we're not going to sign anybody, and I think we know Moyes didn't like Haller because he just wasn't that sort of player to run in behind, to link up well. His first touch was the reason we conceded a few goals as well. Against Leeds, we conceded that penalty because he had a poor touch. I remember against Brighton as well. We lost the ball high up the pitch again from him. But at the end of the day, he scored goals. And even though he missed a bunch of easy chances, he'd always score one every 2 or 3 games, which obviously were important goals. Now we're seeing Souček being our top goal scorer. And if that's the case and Antonio gets injured again, I don't think we can expect too much. I'm still quite reserved. I think 35 points is a good return at this point. I'll see what happens when we get to 40, but a top 10 finish is still what I'm aiming for.
And who would you say have been your top 3 best players this season?
I think Ogbonna, first and foremost, very, very underrated centre-back. I think I'm not just saying that as well. I think he has been the mainstay in that defence. He leads by example. He's getting better with age. He's 32 now. He's been in the Premier League for about 5-6 seasons now. So he's been very, very solid. helping out Cresswell as well, who we know very susceptible defending. Obviously, Souček comes up with the trumps in so many different games, particularly when Antonio's been injured and Haller hadn't been scoring. And I'd also like to probably say Declan Rice. I think Declan Rice, we all know the qualities he has. Become a captain now at the age of 22, deputising for Mark Noble, who no one wants to see play at the moment, unfortunately. Those are our top three players.
Mm-hmm. That was interesting, I can't lie. Anybody got any thoughts on West Ham before we move on, or yeah, man. So moving on to another fellow London rival, Chelsea. I think today's been a week since we've sacked Lampard. I can't lie. I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, it has, yeah.
Yeah, man. It feels like a long time ago. I can't remember that, brother. But so far so good. 1 win, 1 draw. The last game against Burnley, we saw a much better performance compared to Wolves. The team looked a bit more cohesive. Passing was very good. We were playing in between the lines a lot more. You saw Mason Mount in the pockets. You saw Hudson-Odoi running riot. We've also the quote about Robbie Brady. The defense looks solid. So, I mean, it's all positive signs. Obviously, we got to look in retrospect of it is Wolves and Burnley bottom half sides, but I guess the opening signs are looking okay. Obviously, Thursday is going to be a big game because Tottenham is going to show how far we've come so far. But it's just the early days so far. So I'm happy with what I've seen so far with the players, and he's given all the players an opportunity. You're seeing Alonso coming back into their side. You're seeing Aspie's now playing a bit more. Obviously, he's taking out Reece James. He's not playing that often. Hudson-Odoi is coming in. So you're just seeing he's giving everybody a fresh start. It almost feels like a pre-season sort of vibe where everybody who was kind of out the light is now being given an opportunity. But what are your guys' thoughts on Tuchel's impact so far in Chelsea and where it could go just for the rest of the season? Denzel.
When I looked at Tuchel, I'm gonna go off the Burnley game because the Wolves game, I feel like it was like he'd just become manager, so he didn't have that much time to implement his tactics and such. I'm gonna look at the Burnley game. I thought Callum Hudson-Odoi, that guy on the wing, he played well on the wing. Like he provided a lot, and I feel like Lampard didn't utilize him well enough. I feel like Tuchel's gonna get a lot out of him because we saw like Tuchel with Dembele. He knows how to get like good things out of players, especially young players. So I feel like CHO will improve dramatically under Tuchel. The call of dropping Reece James was a big call. It worked out though, and I think he brought Alonso back into the side as well. Alonso scored that banger, so he's changing up the side, and it looks like it's working. Obviously, it's been 2 games, so we can't judge too prematurely. But Chelsea they're looking better from what I can see, and I think like just keep an eye on CHO because of what Tuchel. From what I saw in that game, it looks like he's improved under Tuchel. But then again, it's only been a week, so we can't speak too prematurely. But it's looking more positive than when Frank was there.
What about you, Dan? What are your thoughts on Tuchel so far?
Nah, I agree with Denzel, especially about Hudson-Odoi. I think he'll improve massively, and a lot of other players will get better. But I think firstly, we can't look too much into the next, even these past 2 games and the next couple of games. Like even if you go to Spurs and lose, I don't think people can look too much into it because he's just come into the job, so he's not going to have a immediate effects. Like the players are not going to automatically be accustomed to his way of playing. So I think we need to give him time. But if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be pretty excited because he's a manager who has quite big European pedigree. I mean, he was in the Champions League final last year, and he's improved players. Like you've seen that players have improved under Tuchel. And as a squad, Chelsea do have a good squad. Like man for man, Chelsea have a very good squad. But I know some fans were a bit skeptical when they saw his team sheet for Burnley with the likes of Jorginho, Alonso, Rudiger, all starting. But I mean, he got the result in the end, and I feel like for a lot of these players, you need to give them a a clean slate in with the new manager, because obviously Frank Lampard was a totally different scenario, and we don't know what went on behind closed doors and how they were treated. So I feel like Chelsea should be excited going into the future. And me personally, this might be controversial, but I think they probably will make top four with Tuchel as their manager.
All right, what's your thoughts on the whole Tuchel?
I was quite surprised that he put Alonso in the lineup, but considering it's he played with three centre backs and Alonso's a wing back, I guess that's obviously Alonso's best position, and I think everyone knows that Alonso is quite good going forward, but
No, he's not.
he is quite good going forward.
He just scores
just said
goals.
scoring goals. That's it.
Yeah,
It's a false image.
in terms of that, that's what I mean. But in terms of defending, I mean, he's not, or even
He's
in
actually
terms
better
of,
defending than going forward. He's not good going forward.
I wouldn't say he's good defending. I'd say he's better going forward than he is defending. But anyway, Hudson-Odoi in that wing back was also quite good. Yeah, I mean, I just think like Dan said, they shouldn't really expect anything from the Spurs game. Although Spurs aren't playing well at the moment, so I would actually back Chelsea to beat Spurs on Thursday. But I guess we just have to see. In terms of like what I've seen is that in terms of like, striking options, I hope it doesn't become a problem because, at the end of the day, he's going to have to rely on someone to get him the goals, and he's going to have to trust in someone. And, although he's still checking out the squad, I don't really think he has found the right person in that squad for them. I mean, he took off Abraham at halftime. Abraham wasn't playing too well. Werner wasn't playing well as well, really. I mean, he did get a bit better in the second half. He hasn't, he hasn't played Giroud, I think. No, he played
him in
Giroud.
the first game.
He played him against Wolves. Yeah, I mean, it was just all right. But I guess he's still just checking out the squad, trying to see, where everybody fits in and how he can best utilize them. Havertz played well against Wolves. I mean, at least for some bits, he looked, more promising, made runs into the box. So I guess, that's good to see. But yeah, it's just something that they'll just have to build on and work on. And in terms of top four, I mean, yeah, anything could still happen in this season. So, I can't put it past them. But I guess we just have to see.
Sarah, what are your feelings on Tuchel and his impact so far?
Yeah, I think you guys alluded to it last week about the appointment of Thomas Tuchel. I'm excited by it. I think he's one of those managers who I think it's easy to say he's a mixture of Klopp and Pep. Tactical flexibility is a big thing with him as well. We saw obviously against Wolves, keeping Hudson-Odoi high and wide, because you've got Aspilicueta there who he's very astute at that role. Really, really gave Brady and Peters a very tough time. Particularly in the fact that he's playing 2 6s in Kovacic and Kante, which Kovacic and Jorginho, who he knows he can play Jorginho there if he needs to. But having that flexibility between a defensive wing back on one side in Alonso and an attacking winger in a sense with Hudson-Odoi, I still think he's still trying out the squad. He knows what Pulisic is about. He knows what Thiago Silva is about. He knows what the German guys are about. But he knows exactly what sort of players he fits his sort of system, in terms of the fact that Giroud and Abraham and Werner, he will have to eventually establish which one will play most often, because I think the issue with Lampard was he did rotate them a lot, and so when Giroud was on form, he wasn't playing, and then sometimes he was playing. I think Tuchel will establish that very quickly and very early on. I still think we'll see changes in the Tottenham game, as he will find out who's maybe suited to a system. We don't know if he's going to pursue with 3 at the back. Let's be honest, because he's got so much attacking talent there. Can he really afford to do that? I think also that he's a control freak. I think a lot of people we've seen that in a lot of videos, which is why I'm excited to see maybe some of the tactical changes he makes with. I don't know, where's Mount going to play? Is Mount going to play in midfield again, or is he going to play as one of those inverted forwards again? He's played well. He's probably been one of your best players in the last couple of months, maybe all season. So yeah, I'm excited with the overall appointment.
Yeah, especially what you hear about his formations as well. That one's gonna be
Yeah,
quite interesting because I don't see him staying with three at the back
Yeah.
because there's too much players.
especially against
Too much,
Spurs.
yeah. I
Because
don't
Spurs
see it.
sit back.
Mm,
I think he'll attack Spurs.
yeah,
Yep.
I hear that. That would be an interesting game.
Yeah.
But going on to Spurs and their recent form, apparently these men were title challengers a couple months ago. Now these men are struggling for top four. People have been speaking about Harry Kane and Son, their over reliance on Harry Kane and Son, and you know what? It's showing fruits because I think they've contributed to about 70% of their goals, which is ridiculous. You know that shouldn't happen. You know, but yeah, what's our thoughts on Spurs' recent form and how do you think that's going to affect them for the rest of the season in terms of what they can go on to achieve? Daniel.
First of all, their recent form, we love to see it. Spurs have been pretty. That Brighton game was shocking. That was one of the worst Spurs performances that I've seen in a long time. And I don't think you said that it was their reliance on Kane and Son. I think it's more just Kane because I think Son improves when Kane plays. When Kane doesn't play, he kind of struggles, I find. And Jose, I think Jose doesn't know what his best defense is either. Like we've seen Dyer, we've seen Davinson Sanchez, we've seen Alderweireld and Rodon. Spurs, for me, obviously, I think they've gone through a blip and a lot of people are becoming very reactionary. Like I'm seeing some people saying Jose out. I'm seeing a lot of people saying that Spurs are struggling to make top four and stuff like that. I think we need to wait on it a couple more weeks before we start with stuff like that because I mean right now they're only 3 points off top four, so they're not too far away from where they should be. But I think it's just the football they've been playing and their reliance on Kane. Like we know Kane's going to be out for the next couple of weeks, so for all we know, it could carry on the way they're playing, and the way they're playing as well is just awful to watch. Like I don't think they had one big chance against Brighton. Brighton should have scored two, maybe not, if not three, and Brighton are relegation candidates. So for Spurs, they've been very very poor. And Jose, but the one thing I want to say is like when you appointed Jose, you have to expect stuff like this. Like this is Jose. Jose plays this football. So when Spurs fans kind of are surprised at these performances. I don't really understand it. Like this is who he is. He's never going to be this attacking, expansive manager. He's going to play this type of football, and in some games you're going to want to pull your hair out. But at the end of the day, I think he will win them trophies, and that's what they want. So I think they should probably stick with him, even though it's not been good recently.
Sarah, what's your thoughts on Spurs' form?
Yeah, I think it was inevitable. I said that if he's not playing a top six side, I think he struggles to beat anyone else. I think Brighton play better football than Simply, it's as simple as that. I think you can tell from the build-up play. There's no sort of like cohesion in between the midfield, the wingers. If Harry Kane's not there to drop deep and pull it out wide to Son, it just looks like a complete disaster. I think Vinicius maybe should be playing a couple more games. Obviously he had that one chance probably in the game. I also think some of the tactical decisions as well. Like I think Sissoko playing a wing back. I know he's tactically very capable, but I mean he's not a wing back, is he? Davis playing a wing back as well. I think he's better at defending. I also think as well that with the players he's got at his disposal, he should be. I know we think that with the style of football, he shouldn't be so progressive and expansive, but the players he has, he should be doing better, and they should be performing better as well. Like, what do Spurs actually expect from Gareth Bale? Like, what do they expect from him? Because if he's expected to start, assisting and scoring every game or contributing in some sort of way, either it's not going to happen because he hasn't got enough game match sharpness, or Jose doesn't trust him. He doesn't do the dirty work. He's not the same player, no.
Yeah.
He's not even trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think Lucas, Lamella, Bergwijn, they all need to step up as well.
Yeah. It was really a nostalgia signing, to be honest.
Shirt
And
sales.
the wages, 300k a week, plus the 300 he earns from Madrid, 600.
He's been finished, man. The fact that he was injured and he wasn't playing for like a year, it was never gonna work, man. It's never gonna work, man. Well, what about you? What were you saying, Ori, about it?
Yeah. Playing with three centre backs, against Brighton. I mean, yeah, it's not something you should really be doing. I feel like what Dan said about Kane. Kane essentially played as an attacking midfielder and centre forward, because like he would literally drop deep and get those balls into Son. And once there's no one to play those balls to Son, he just kind of looks clueless, because he's not making runs. He doesn't know what to do essentially. Birdwine, I don't know. He's not, I don't see anything from him. It's just, he's just one of those players who I think doesn't offer much to Spurs. Bell as well. Attacking wise, I mean, without Kane, they look very clueless. And even sometimes with Kane, because I mean, not every game Kane would be, at his best. So even sometimes with Kane, they didn't look very, from, like we said, they don't have an attacking midfield as well. I think
What
they
about
tried.
Ndom though?
Yeah,
What about Ndombele? Even though
I
it's a,
yeah, I wouldn't call him.
He's not an attacking midfielder though, is he?
I know he's a
Yeah.
complete midfielder though.
Yeah, but
Yeah, he is, but he can't be the only creative outlet.
yeah, what he does essentially is just he's very good at like beating like the high press and stuff like that. So he knows how to really get the ball out of the midfield and move it forward. But in terms of like playing that final pass, playing that you would still need someone, because I mean they're not playing Dele Alli. I mean obviously.
Or Lo Celso.
The Celso would be that guy as well. Yeah.
But he's not stepped up.
I heard some rumors that they were trying to get Eriksen back. I don't think that was, that worked out for them. But I don't know. Yeah, in terms of that, they just look very like, clueless. And I think everybody knows, Mourinho for this, like, how he doesn't like, attack very much. But I don't know. I just think like, it's just Spurs just, they're not just, looking very promising in terms of that. Their decline has always just been, everybody's always knew the decline was coming. This season, yeah, they started well. I mean, everyone was excited for them. I mean, their fans were excited for them, but now they've just, fallen off the grid and they just look back to, the same old Spurs that they were before. Yeah, nothing really. It's not looking very bright for them, but I guess we just have to see how it goes.
What about you, Denzel? What were your thoughts on Tottenham's recent form?
With Tottenham, it's just I'm seeing the same thing that I was seeing with United and Mourinho, like where it's just negative football. It works against the big clubs, but when it comes to the small teams, it doesn't work. Like how are you getting outplayed by Brighton? Without Kane and Son, I feel like they're in massive trouble. The injury to Kane it's a big issue. Like Tottenham without Kane, I don't think they can get top four without Kane. Vinicius, he's decent, but he's not good enough to fill the role that Kane has. And I think I don't know, but you could see the fans start to turn on Mourinho because of if they don't get top four and they're playing trash football, not trashy football, they're playing like typical Mourinho part of the bus football. They're not going to be happy with that. And I see like a repeat of what happened at United happening at Tottenham.
They'll win a trophy though. I think I'm confident they'll win I'm very confident they'll win the Europa League.
What, they'll win Europa League?
I think so. That's a Jose thing to do. They'll come fifth or sixth and win the Europa League, and
I'm not sure.
they'll be fine. Because like his style is quite good especially for competition football. Jose can sit back and defend against a big team and score one away goal and then bring them back to White Hart Lane and park the bus.
True.
Yeah,
He can do that.
Wait, are Inter in the Europa League or they still in Champions League?
They're not in anything.
No, they're completely out. They're out.
No, nothing.
No.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah, possibly. Yeah.
I don't know, man. Jose's not the same guy as he once was, but we'll see, man.
He's still capable.
I think
he always goes through this.
Is
He'll
the
get them a
Serge
trophy.
Aurier situation the start of anything? Is it the start of something?
Could have said the
The
same
issue
thing about
is-
Dele Alli's one, though.
like, how can you have all those attacking players? They're not even rubbish attacking players. They're very, very capable players.
Some of them are though. Like if you ask Spurs fans, players like Lamella, like he's not good. Like Moura's not done anything for a while. I think these players are living off things they've done in the past. Like right now, they haven't been good.
I mean, besides Kane, it's literally just Son, and I mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Bale's a big name, but right now, the way he's playing right now is awful.
yeah, it's quite awful.
Dan James vibes.
He doesn't run. At least Dan James runs.
Yeah,
Exactly.
he doesn't put in any effort. He just doesn't seem interested in.
And Dombele's playing very well though. That's why he's the only player that I think he's playing very well.
He's a proper footballer, man. He's certified.
He's a
He's
baller.
certified.
He deserves better.
I do think that Bill, eventually, I'm thinking when the years come, I think he would obviously he would play well for Wales. That's the thing, and I guess that would just quite show everybody that he doesn't really try for Spurs. He doesn't really have any motivation for club football anymore. He's really accomplished a lot in his career, so he doesn't have any motivation. Nothing much to play for anymore. Yeah.
So going on to the final topic here, I'm going to show you a picture and I want to see what you guys think. So, what's all this?
Oh no. It's saved by the backside.
Literally, am I the only one thinking, like, what is this really trying to achieve? Like, what's actually offside? I'm struggling.
I don't know. And that's not
It's
the
probably
first time they were wrong.
the band he was wearing on his shoulder or something.
So,
They should have
like,
had a penalty earlier.
what's our general thoughts on VAR? Like, do you think it is needed, or do you think it's just not being used correctly? Because if we're being honest, in the technology way of looking at it, this is a clear and obvious error to technology, isn't it? But to us, we're looking at it and saying, like, what's the difference?
No, you know what the thing is. That part, like, I think there's a tiny bit of his shirt sleeve that's offside. The thing is that if he was to score a goal with hair, this part of the shirt sleeve, it would count as a goal. That's the thing. So if that same part is offside, they would have to give it, because if he does happen to score from hair, it would count as a goal, because they made the rule for the short sleeve thing where like anything below the short sleeve is a handball. But I mean, if it's just, I mean, it looks so slim that you could barely even see. I don't know. I mean, in that situation, I think you just have to give the striker the benefit of the doubt. It's not like he has a obvious advantage from there. It's just, I don't know.
But yeah, like, one by one, what's our thoughts on just VAR and its existence? Like, Denzel, what's your thoughts on VAR?
Like, I don't mind it. I feel like it corrects
Surprise,
a lot of
surprise.
errors in the game. It corrects a lot of errors in the game. I feel like it's wishy-washy, because when it goes against you, everyone hates it. When it goes for you, everyone loves it. So it's inconsistent with VAR. I don't have an issue with it personally, though. But some of the decisions are a bit sus.
What about you, Dan?
I don't think it's VAR that's the problem. I think it's English officials, and English officials have been a problem for like 20 years now. Like VAR has been fine in Europe, really. There's
I
not
can't
been
lie,
really...
this ain't got nothing to do with the referees, though.
They made the decisions.
No,
They're the
but-
ones that look at that picture. They look at that picture and say it's offside.
Yeah, because the technology is telling them that it's offside, isn't it? When you look at it, because his
But,
as Ori
but
was
surely-
saying, his arms is the sleeve of the arm is offside. So if
but
the
surely in
technology is showing you that, then there's nothing wrong with it.
But you have to give the benefit of the doubt in them situations, though.
Yeah,
Surely.
so,
Does
like,
common sense not come into it?
No, but that's the thing. You're using technology. Technology does not have common sense. You're literally going off yes or no. This isn't
Well, it's
about
interpreted.
human.
It's interpreted technology though, because it's other decisions are it's a foul or it's not a foul. That's interpreted.
that one is
The same way this is
offside.
interpreted.
It's something like offside is mathematical, so it's just literally like the last.
Yeah.
one. So if anything,
But there's other decisions have been given offside that are shocking as well.
true.
Like the James Maddison one that was given offside against Spurs. That was a shocking decision.
Yeah, I think so.
Like it's just English referees, and the reason I know that is because the goal line technology has worked fine, and the reason why is because English referees don't get involved. It's just the technology that says it's a goal or it's not. There's no grey area. and they don't have to make the decision.
For people are more accepting of the goal line technology because they accept basic math there more. So even if the ball is just like 0.000001 meters in or something, everybody knows it's a goal because mathematically, but no one is still willing to accept that for offside a lot. Even if like a tiny part of the player's feet is offside, everyone still says, "Oh, why was he given us offside?" But
Because I think offside is like
it technically is still. I think we need to be looking at changing. Wenger was talking about changing the offside law a bit. That we should be giving the attacker the benefit of the doubt more. If like your fingernail or something is, or if like your toenail or something is offside, you shouldn't be given like what clear advantage does the player get from that. So I think it's the offside rule a bit that's a bit iffy because like at the end of the day, even if it's just this bit that's off, it's still off and there's nothing you can do about it. So I mean, it's just it's a tricky
and
Yeah.
inconsistencies. I think inconsistencies is the thing that's annoying people.
true.
If they were consistent with all decisions, then I think there'd be less complaints and it'd be easier to fix. But
And
the
how
fact
can you
that
be
some
con-
decisions,
I don't know. This is my thing. How can you expect consistencies from, as you were saying, different people having different interpretations from the game? Unless you have one robot that's gonna do all the controlling for you, what sort of consistency are you looking for?
because you need
This
to
is
have a
what I'm saying.
standard.
This is what I'm saying.
With
We're
VAR,
human
bro.
beings, but we're expecting perfection. I know we're not expecting
Nah,
clear
the thing is-
perfection, but
I don't
there's a
even know
certain
that,
leeway
bro.
of understanding that mistakes
The
are going to
thing,
happen.
yeah,
But the
thing is
mistakes
with
are so
VAR,
bad.
I feel like the issue isn't VAR. The issue is the refs
Yeah,
and the interpretation of VAR. That's
100%.
like
100%.
the issue. Like VAR itself isn't the issue.
It isn't even just that though, is it? Like I think refs, VAR, the rule book, and slowing down every single video, picture, thing, right down to the scrutiny is a big problem. That's why I don't even think VAR is. I think VAR is amazing. We needed it. I think we needed it ages ago. We could have had it 10 years ago. I think he needs to look at everything as well. Why doesn't it look at second yellow cards but looks at straight reds? Why doesn't it look at whose corner it is, whose throw-in it is? Because that costs teams, man.
It'd be time consuming though. That's the only thing.
No, but it takes 2 seconds, I think. There's 100 cameras around the pitch. Why can't it just quickly?
True.
Well, like the goal line technology, they get a signal to tell them it's a goal or not. Why can't they just say Arsenal throw-in, Arsenal whatever? Like, why can't they just do something like that?
In my opinion, if it gets to that point, you might as well just get robots to referee then, in my opinion.
They should then, shouldn't they? Because
the standard would be better. The standard would be a lot better.
I mean, if you want a game played by humans who aren't naturally perfect to have perfection, then you should get the robots instead. Get the robots to even play the game. Because I don't understand.
No,
it.
not play, but rarely.
Why? Why not? You want perfection, don't you? Get the robots to play. You know the ones.
But teams have been costed.
Exactly,
Teams have been costed unfairly.
That's not. But I'm sorry.
I speak from experience.
I'm not even trying to be like disrespectful, but that's just life, bro. Like life ain't perfect. So I don't understand this.
But
no,
I
get you.
I get you. Millions of pounds.
But that costs teams.
I'm sorry.
Football's a game. You're capable of doing stuff like this.
Pardon?
But like when you can improve it, why wouldn't you?
I'm not saying for innovation. I'm not saying
when you can improve it. Why wouldn't you?
I'm not saying to stop innovation. Obviously, in life, change is always constant, and that is always going to happen. But I'm saying you shouldn't lose the essence of the game. The essence of the game is that it's played by human beings who are naturally not perfect. So why are you looking to create perfection in something that isn't naturally perfect anyway? But
But no one comes for the referee though. No one comes to see, did the referee get it right or not? People come to see who played well, who played badly.
I mean, who referees get a lot of smoke
people
nowadays.
Want a fair result. Teams don't want to be cheated out of a result.
Nah, I do.
But no one comes to see the referee. If the referee is not mentioned, they've had a good game. If the referee is not mentioned, they've had a good game. So why is this a thing of?
But I'm just gonna say one thing. Guess who's the only team to not have a penalty yet this season?
West Ham.
Yeah, exactly. Who only had one penalty last season?
Wait, here we go. Man.
And some penalties that have been given,
and some of the ones that have been given
that's not your style.
And some penalties that haven't been given are shocking.
It's ridiculous, man. Honestly.
Either
you look at everything or you don't have it at all, and I want VAR in. I've always been like that. I want it in.
That's fair.
There should have been about 5 yellow cards in the Liverpool West Ham game.
Obviously, VAR is obviously at the end of the day, you have to say it's a good addition because there's some.
It is.
There's some things that have just been so shocking I remember when we played United, I think it was last year, no, 2 years ago, and Aubameyang scored and it was given as offside, and the gap was literally he's never been more onside. You could see, and then obviously VAR cleared that up. So stuff like that. I mean, you have to say that, yeah, imagine if there was no VAR, how everybody would go crazy and say, oh, there needs to be video replays. So, yeah, I mean, I think they just need to obviously work on fixing it. I don't think, it's a bad, I would never say it's a bad addition, but yeah, I just think it needs to just be a bit better. That's just
And what's this thing about if the referee doesn't make a decision, it's not a clear and obvious error? They should go to the screen every single time. If it's a suspected penalty, suspected red card, they should just go to the screen regardless.
Yeah, I don't understand.
None of this,
the person in the VAR room does nothing really. The person in the VAR room just tells them to go to the box. So why even waste time?
Why even waste time?
Yeah. It's a bit messy, isn't it? I can't lie.
One thing I've also noticed is that the offside thing, the offside, they don't raise their flag until a piece of play happens.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's a bit because sometimes some players actually almost get injured from situations where they were offside, but they didn't even know they were offside. And I think they should just be raising the flag if they, but I guess that's one that because they think that they can't be 100% sure, and if they score from that, so I guess that's a tricky one. But yeah,
I think one example of how poor the officiating is in this country is the Villa versus Man City game. So
yeah,
they hadn't addressed the rule. The ref made the wrong decision, and then after the game they changed the rule. Come on.
That is terrible.
That's shocking.
The handball rule as well in the box, they had to change that another 3 or 4 times, and it still needs probably needs a bit more changing. How has Matty Cash been? Both those penalties are questionable that he's conceded.
I think the best thing that I can say to describe it is when you look at the fixture list and you look to see who's reffing the game. There's not one referee that you can look and say, yeah, I'm confident he won't make a mistake. Every referee you look at and you say, he's awful.
Yeah, let's move on from VAR and his existence. Let's look at Europe. What's going on? Atletico. I need to put some respect on Suarez's name. Obviously, we were having the discussion on the GC anyway. I thought this guy was finished. I can't lie. When he went to Atletico, because I remember I was watching him last season for Barca, and I was like, nah, this guy is finished. But he's showing he's still got some fuel left in the tank. So do you think Atletico are gonna run away with it? No, there's no chance for Real Madrid or Barca.
I want to say yeah, but it's kind of hard to say because Atletico are still going to have to face Real Madrid and they're going to have to face Barcelona, and they don't look too comfortable when they play Real Madrid and Barcelona. So I would expect Real Madrid to beat them, as even as surprising as it sounds, and I would also expect Barcelona to beat them. So if you're talking about 6 points dropped from both games, it could really open up the race. But then Real Madrid and Barcelona also have to remain consistent. So it's all very right now, yeah, I would probably say they would win it. But I mean, I wouldn't say they'll run away with it. I feel like the gap would be closed eventually.
That's pretty crazy, man. 50 points. They've only lost one game. And they beat Barca.
They got a game in hand.
And they beat Barca as well, remember? 1-0, I think. Yeah, they did. Remember, what's his name? Carrasco put it through Ter Stegen's legs. Yeah.
I think it was Real Madrid they lost to.
Yeah, they lost to Madrid. Yeah. But
they don't concede goals. They just don't concede.
And 10 goals. Scoring as well. They're scoring as well.
They've got the best defensive record in Europe, haven't they?
Probably. I don't think Man City are too far from it.
Yeah, Man
City 13, 14. Yeah.
And they conceded 5 against Leicester. That's the maddest thing as well.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Any other news from any other leagues that you guys want to mention?
Inter won 4-0. Yeah.
I don't think in the podcast we didn't cover what happened between obviously the Milan derby. That was a mad game.
Interesting.
From Ibra and Lukaku, the ref going off for the injury, man. That game.
That's what it should be. That's what the Milan derby should
everything.
Be.
Exactly.
That's what it should be. This is football heritage. The two Milan clubs.
Exactly. That was a beautiful game to watch. The Eriksen free kick was lovely as well. I thought he was washed, but he proved me wrong with that free kick.
I mean, hopefully we see Ericsson play a few more games now, right? Because he played the other day against Benevento again, and he played quite well.
But
So
I don't think he has a
there's
place in that
for him.
starting 11. Nah, I don't think there's a place in
Yeah,
that.
I think yeah.
He's a rotation player. He's not going to start for them.
Any other news on the other leagues? I know Bayern are like 7 points clear of the Bundesliga.
Yeah, Bayern are like
Dortmund came from behind.
And
PSG
and
lost.
the Marseille fans.
Oh yeah, they man, didn't they riot into it?
On the training ground, and I mean, it's understandable. I think they've got 2 wins in their last like 11 games. They've been very, very bad. So I mean, I understand why they would do it, but I don't condone their actions. Let's put it like that.
And they're in a top 4 race, aren't they? At the
Uh,
moment, Marseille, they were.
they're 10 points off 4th. They've been on a very, very bad run.
They started well and then just fell off.
They fell off really hard.
Yeah, they, as I said, they've got 2 wins in their last 11 games.
Champions League is back this month, by the way.
That would be interesting to see how clubs adapt.
You know, I'm really looking forward to that PSG Barcelona. You know,
it's quite far away. PSG,
Lil know how to sell big players and then just keep churning out the next big thing.
It's because their scouting network's so good as well. A lot of these like French or all these smaller clubs, they all have like feeder, like sort of affiliate clubs.
Yeah, France and Germany probably are the best. And Eredivisie as well is starting to produce a few more.
Yeah. But anyway, let's move on to our stars of the week. Mine, I'm giving it to Hudson-Odoi. He did his thing, you know. I gotta respect that. Gotta respect it, man. But what are you man saying? What about you, Dan? Who's your star of the week?
For me, he's not. I mean, he's 22, so he's not really young. But Eze for Crystal Palace, he's been a quality player. I mean, the goal he scored, beautiful goal. The feint, and just smashed it in. And I mean, this season he's been looking quality so far. So it's Eze.
What about you, Ori?
Probably has to be Suarez for me. Yeah. The free kick was quite good. He's just always a threat going forward. Has now 14 goals in I think 16 games. So yeah, I'd have to say it was the star of the week.
Wait, Denzel, was yours a Cho as well?
Yeah, mine was.
All right. What about you, Sarah?
Yeah, I'll say Lukaku. I think he hasn't scored a hat trick yet in Inter Milan. The guy scores braces for fun. Very underrated player, I think. I mean, he's very fast as well for someone who's 6'3". He scores a lot of goals. Him and Martinez. Martinez is, he's been going for a bit of a rough patch. He scored another goal. Hopefully I think they could win. They could win Serie A now that they've not got European football.
Any nominees for the Wild of the Week?
Jose Mourinho.
Anybody else?
Probably Jose for me too. Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah,
I guess Zidane also was quite shocking. But
yeah, they lost 2-1.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any. Nah. Yeah, I might just give it to Jose then, innit? Them ones. But yeah, man. I think that's it for another week, man. Yeah, man. Obviously, you know the drill. Like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with your friends, family, all of that. But yeah, man, we'll see you guys next week. Stay blessed, people.